Hi, Catherine. Hi, Donna. How are you guys? Good.
Good.
It's great to see you. Donna, welcome back.
Thanks.
Are you, have you recuperated? Are you tired? How do you feel?
I was pretty kind of roast toasted afterwards, when I came home Sunday or I got home Saturday night. I was just kind of a wreck, I
Yeah.
went to bed and now I'm fine. Just taking it easy. Took a couple days off.
Good. Good.
Yeah.
And your wrists are doing okay?
Yeah, all fine. Yes.
Good. Very good. Your thumbs, I think that was
Yeah.
your
Yeah,
issue.
no problems whatsoever.
Good.
I don't know what that was all about, but
Huh. Well, good. I'm glad that you're not having any issues now.
thanks.
All right. Well, we'll get started. Yes, you'll have to. Did they say how long it's going to take?
They said they'd send out results on the 13th of January.
Okay. Sometimes they give. Sometimes they'll send them out early. I think they do that just like a worst case scenario. But yeah. So
Well, I feel good about it. I feel really good about it, but I don't know if 97.5 good, it's just such a small margin of error. So,
I'm sure you did great.
well, I feel good.
Good. Good. That's awesome. Well, all right. We'll go ahead and get started. All right. Okay, so let's get started with just some common words. Here we go. Ready? Haven't, instant, friends, picture, greatly, advance, although, wishes, asking, careful, point, hot, else, separate, acknowledge, building, placed, gentleman, fall, working, president, form, personal, 100, instead, trip, board, item, regular, goes, cars, miss, practice, including, folks, additional, advised, late. All right, common phrases that we hear. Here we go. Does he have? Do I have? Do you have? I can't have. I didn't have. I don't have. If you have, I have. It would have. May have. Shall have. So I have. So you have. That have. That I have. That you have. There have. They have. To have. We have. What have. What I have. What you have. When have. When you have. Where have. Where I have. Where you have. Whether I have. Whether or not I have. Whether or not you have. Whether you have. Which you have. Which I have. Who have. Will have. Would have. You have. He believed. He believes. He could. He feels. He felt. He is. He recalled. He recalls. He recollected. He recollects. All right. We've got a basic brief review with the words reply, argue, subject, amount. Here are your sentences. You must reply to the offer. What is the subject of the text? The amount is far too high. Don't argue about it. File the replies in the black file cabinet. She was subjected to slander. What subjects are you taking next term? I am replying to your letter. We are subjected to the rules. There is no point in arguing about it. Can you point out the subjects and the verbs? He replied on January 20. I cannot subject him to that pressure. They are all subjects of the Queen. The machine was subjected to abuse. Subjecting them to the cold weather is not necessary. There is no sense in arguing about everything. It amounts to the same thing. Mr. Hill argues the case magnificently. He always argues well. John argued until he got his own way. I am being subjected to another argument. It amounted to a change of venue. The replies were all favorable. All right. Names and addresses. Here we go. Ready? Ms. Dana F. Cox, COX, P.O. Box 243, Livingston, Texas 78351. Ms. Karen D. Fournier, Fournier, 53 Weymouth Street, Brunswick, Maine 04011. Mr. Steve T. Sapinza, Sapienza, Radcliffe College, 10 Garden Street, Cambridge, Massachusetts 02138. Mr. Don I. Burles, Burless, 2123 South Oakland Street, Arlington, Virginia 22504. Ms. Linda B. Sarlo, Rock Valley College, 3501 North Mulford Road, Rockford, Illinois 61501. Nanette M. Santiago, Santiago, 51 South Newton Avenue, Selden, New York 11784. Mr. Travis Archie, Archey, Route 4, Box 258, Wilmington, Illinois 60481. Lucy I. Martinez, Martinez, 840 Patricia Avenue, San Mateo, California 94401. Faye M. Work, Werk, Calvin Christian High School 3750 Ivan Rest Avenue, Grandville, Mississippi 49418. Okay. I've got a drill here with numbers. These are items with numbers. Okay, here we go. Net income, $576,393. Profit from operation, $878,972. Dividends paid, $480,149. Additions to property, $1,931,600. Current liabilities, $2,573,984. Current assets, $16,203,243. Gross sales, $34,982,002. Net sales, $25,326,831. All right. Moving on with Tangle Tamers. Let's see here. Where's my sheet? Okay, here it is. All right, here we go. Ready? Licensed auctioneer, bodily injury, questioned credibility, electrical impulses, corrective lenses, exceptionally long-standing, clandestine rendezvous, correction inevitable, initial assessment, view-oriented homes, gracious entertaining, recreational vehicle, obsolete guardhouse, pot scrubber, dishwasher, controversial reauthorization, future reconciliation, luxurious oval tubs. All right. Moving on to some medical words. Here we go. Ready? Visceral, vaginal, chiropractic, atrophy, melanoma, radiologist, spurt, headache, anterior, vessel, fever, spinal, acromegaly, hysterectomy, renal, gushing, intravenous, hydrotherapy, myopathy, laparoscopy, retrograde, gastric, testosterone, aneurysm, prescribes, injury, fracture, plantar, cardiac, myelogram, vertebral, dorsal, tumor, pathology, thoracic, cranium. All right. We'll go ahead and start our literary. This is from an actual sheriff's report that was read in court. So I actually marked it. And I'm going to read this to you guys. So what I'll do is I will start at 180 and I'll work my way to 200 on this one, okay? All right, here we go. On 4/1/2014 at approximately 8:13, while in uniform and driving a sheriff's marked patrol unit and currently in phase 3 of my field training officer FTO program with Deputy Casey as my FTO, I was dispatched to a LoJack stolen vehicle hit. The LoJack stolen vehicle information first came from the Arizona Highway Patrol AHP Air 83 helicopter unit. I was driving vehicle number 18P20, which is installed with a LoJack device. I arrived on the scene at 3250 Monroe Avenue in the city of Phoenix at approximately 8:22. The stolen vehicle location was located by the LoJack device installed in the vehicle I was driving and assistance from AHP's Air 83 helicopter unit. Scene information observation. Upon my arrival, I saw a white Toyota Camry matching the description given by AHP's Air 83 helicopter unit. The entry gate to the front yard was open and unlocked, and the garage door to the location was open. Deputy Hecker saw one subject running away from the location through bush lines heading toward Harold Street. Harold Street is the first street east of Monroe Avenue. Deputies Casey, Hecker, Nason, and myself made entry into the residence. I made entry through the garage. As I entered the garage, I saw a tall Hispanic male open the door that leads from the residence to the garage. The Hispanic male made eye contact with me, and I yelled out verbal orders to show me his hands and get down on the floor. The Hispanic male shut the door. I made entry into the residence, and I saw a different Hispanic male with tattoos and two females on the floor with their hands behind their backs. Deputies secured the residence. AHP's Air 83 helicopter put information out over the radio that one subject tried to jump the fence in the next house over, and another subject fled the location and is hunkered down 3 lots south of the original residence behind property. An area check of the immediate surrounding area and residences was conducted. One of the 2 subjects that fled was detained and later identified as Eric Lammers. The subject that fled and is outstanding was later identified as Larry Martinez. Officer safety information was put out that Larry Martinez is armed with a chrome handgun. During the area check, a Green Eagles football jersey that matched the shirt description Lammers was wearing and confirmed by Deputy Smith was located in the backyard of a nearby residence on Harold Street in the city of Phoenix. The green football jersey is suspected to be Lammers. When Lammers was detained in the back seat of a sheriff's patrol marked unit, he saw me holding the green football jersey and asked if he can have it back. Evidence. A Green Eagles football jersey bearing the name Davis and the number 18 was placed in a brown evidence paper bag, sealed with the evidence tape, initialed and assigned evidence tag number 1029802-865. The football jersey was placed in an evidence locker and at the sheriff's in Phoenix. Additional information, Deputy. At 4/1/2014 at approximately 15:34 hours, I was self-assigned to assist our detectives at Stevens Self Storage, located at 24501 Yucca Street in the city of Phoenix. The information received was unknown subjects in a black Ford Mustang were at Stevens Self Storage. 2 subjects left the black Ford Mustang and went into storage unit number 972, which is under the name of Larry Martinez. Storage unit number 972 was later found to have stolen property, reference number 3912083002. Felony traffic enforcement stop. On 4/1/2014, at approximately 15:44 hours, I conducted a felony traffic stop on the black Ford Mustang at the south entrance of Stevens Self Storage. A white male adult, later identified as Raymond Bennett, and a white female adult, later identified as Denise Wood, were detained. Both were patted down for weapons and placed in the back seat of a sheriff's patrol vehicle. The two white male adults, later identified as Matthew Myers and Brian Brunn, fled Stevens Self Storage on foot and were later apprehended by sheriff's deputies. On 4/1/2014, at approximately 16:50 hours, I transported Wood and Brunn to the Phoenix Sheriff's Station. On 4/1/2014, at approximately 8:13, I assisted deputies on a LoJack hit in the area of Monroe and Mecca. I arrived on the scene at approximately 8:20. On 4/1/2014, we checked a vehicle that Air 83 received a LoJack hit from and was found to be non-related. Then Deputy Hecker found a white Toyota Camry at 3250 Monroe Avenue. Dispatch confirmed through the license plate that it was the stolen vehicle. As we were arriving to the location, Deputy Hecker saw someone run back into the residence. Due to the stolen vehicle in the property and the possible subjects being inside of the house, the side door was opened and we made entry into the residence. Involved party contact. While at 3250 Monroe Street, I contacted Samuel Rodriguez. The following is a summary of statement which was recorded and attached to the report. Samuel explained he was asleep in his bedroom with his wife. A black male identified as Eric Lammers, which he allows to stay at his residence, came and knocked at his bedroom door. He told Rodriguez to come out there. Samuel gets dressed, and as he is coming out, he sees his eldest stepdaughter running into her bedroom. Rodriguez gets pushed back into his couch in the living room. He did not know the person that threw him into the couch, but said he was a tall, skinny black guy wearing all dark clothing. Samuel saw the Hispanic male run into the master bedroom, and then no one came out. He went towards his master bedroom, and when he got to the living room, the front door flung open, and he saw the barrel of a shotgun. Law enforcement ordered everyone to the ground. He was frustrated and upset because he did not know what was happening. He did not know the female that was at his house. He did not know the guys who were in his house. He did not give anyone permission to be in his house except for Eric Lammers and his family. He did not allow or give Eric Lammers permission to allow anyone into his house. When he saw the white and black vehicle in his front driveway area, he stated the vehicles do not belong to him and they should not be there. He was also upset because the vehicle that his mother let him use was also missing a rear license plate. Samuel did not see any weapons on any of the subjects, but due to the damage that his bar had, he believed the suspects jumped out of his bathroom window of his residence, landing on the bar. Samuel only has one key to the locked that locks the front gate, and his stepdaughter had it in her possession. He reiterated he did not know how or why Eric would let these kinds of people into his house. This concluded his statement. Involved party number 2 contact. On 4/1/2014, while at 3250 Monroe Avenue, I contacted Evelyn Hadley. The following is a summary of her statement, which is recorded and attached to the report. Evelyn was asleep in the master bedroom with Samuel Rodriguez. She heard somebody try to open the door, and then the door flew open. A tall, skinny Hispanic male adult wearing all dark clothes, who she did not know, barged into her bedroom and then went into her bathroom. She heard something slam, and then she heard a window sliding. She then went to walk outside of her master bedroom, where she saw law enforcement was in her house. Evelyn did not see any weapon. She did not see the second male. She stated she only saw one male and the Hispanic girl in her house with her children. She was still asleep, but was a bit confused and did not know what had just occurred. This concluded her statement. Involved party number 3 contact. On 4/1/2014, while at 3250 Monroe Avenue, I contacted Tanya Hadley. The following is a summary of her statement, which is recorded and attached to the report. Tanya explained she is the daughter of Evelyn. She explained she was sitting down on the couch watching television, and her sister was getting something to eat in the kitchen. She heard the front door handle being turned. She did not think anything of it because she believed it was Eric who has access to the residence. She then saw a group of people come in, a Hispanic female and 2 Hispanic male adults. They were holding a bottle filled with a liquid with a rag over it, and she did not know what it was. She said one of the males was a skinny Hispanic male wearing all black. He had a chrome handgun that looked like the weapon I had. She was extremely afraid. The Hispanic male holding the chrome gun told her to go hide. She got up, ran towards her bedroom. The male with the gun was right behind her. She felt he was trying to do something to her, so she ran in her room and locked the door. She heard someone jiggle the door handle, then heard her parents' door slam open. She opened her door and checked to see where her younger sister was. She saw her sister running back towards her bedroom. She allowed her sister in, and they locked themselves inside the bedroom. Shortly after, law enforcement told them to come out of their bedroom. Evidence: CD of interviews placed into evidence at the Phoenix Sheriff's Station. See attached MS3. Disposition: forward supplemental to original report. Assignment: arrival. And then this is just from the other officer. On 4/1/2014 at approximately 15:43 hours, while in uniform driving a marked Sheriff's Patrol unit, I assisted units to 2890 Yates Street in the city of Phoenix, reference a GTA incident which occurred earlier in the city of Phoenix off of Monroe and also related to my DR 391208302, Penal Code 459 burglary. I assisted the units at the storage facility at the address on Yates Street in the city of Phoenix. Upon my arrival at the location, the units advised that they had one subject who had foot bailed westbound through the storage units. I saw Detective Lawson running westbound from the east end of the storage facility. He advised me the subject was running westbound on foot in the row to the north of me. I began to run westbound, looking up to the rows, and observed the subject as he passed into the next row, running westbound. At that point, I continued running westbound through the storage facility and then northbound to the gate, which opened towards Wall Street in the city of Phoenix. I observed the subject, who was later identified as Michael Davis, date of birth 3/15/94. The subject ran towards the gate and began to jump over the gate. At this point, I closed the difference between us and yelled for the subject to stop running and get down on the ground. The subject jumped over the gate and continued running. He went westbound past the Lucy's Mexican restaurant towards the Cat Jack Liquor. I began to run, jumping over the fence and going behind the Lucy's restaurant when I observed the subject running northbound across Wall Street. I then cut northbound across and crossing over Wall Street as well. I observed a unit, Sergeant Hahn, pulling into the business directly across the street, following the subject as he ran behind the business of Labor Ready. I saw the subject jumped over the wall eastbound into the Stater Brothers parking lot as I was traveling northbound across Wall Street, at which point the subject jumped over the wall observing me. At that point, he put his hands in the air and then placed them on top of his head. He then got down on the ground, lying face down in the driveway at the Stater Brothers. I and Sergeant Hahn made contact with the subject. I placed the subject into handcuffs, double locking them, walking him back to my patrol unit. I walked Davis back to my unit, securing him in my unit. I later transported Davis to the Phoenix Sheriff's Station for an interview. All right, so there's more because of all the officers. They all kind of give their testimony. So I'm going to finish this tomorrow, okay? It's pretty interesting. And it makes great practice for literary, you know? So, all right. So let's go ahead and do some jury charge. All right. So you guys are going to hear malice aforethought. You know, you can either write that as MFT or MAFT, even though that conflicts with MAST. but I know a lot of people write it that way. All right. This is just a one-pager, so I think what I'm going to do is read it one time at 200 and then again at 225, okay? All right, so first time at 200. Here we go. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It seems you have a little problem with some of the instructions. We will try to get that straightened out for you. For the benefit of the alternate jurors who have just joined us, the jury has been having a little problem with some of the instructions, and they have requested a clarification. If you recall, you were given complete instructions with respect to murder, which is basically the unlawful killing of a human being with malice aforethought. It is murder when there is manifested an intention unlawfully to kill a human being. If you should find that the defendant either personally murdered Mr. Howe or that he aided and abetted the killer in the murder of Mr. Howe, you must then determine whether the murder was of the first or of the second degree. If you look at your instructions, you will see that any willful, deliberate, and premeditated murder is a murder of the first degree. Also, and now we get into the felony murder rule, which apparently gave you some problem. Any murder committed during the perpetration or attempt to perpetrate the crime of robbery or the crime of burglary, both of which are felonies, is a murder of the first degree, whether the killing was intentional, unintentional, or accidental. That is what is known as the felony murder rule. It is a murder committed during the commission or attempt to commit certain felonies. Two of those felonies have been alleged in this case. One is in the attempt to commit or the commission of a robbery, and the other is in the attempt to commit or the commission of a burglary, and malice under those circumstances is not required. That is all the felony murder rule is. All right, so we'll do it again at 225. Here we go. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It seems you have a little problem with some of the instructions. We will try to get that straightened out for you. For the benefit of the alternate jurors who have just joined us, the jury has been having a little problem with some of the instructions, and they have requested a clarification. If you recall, you were given complete instructions with respect to murder, which is basically the unlawful killing of a human being with malice aforethought. It is murder when there is manifested an intention unlawfully to kill a human being. If you should find that the defendant either personally murdered Mr. Howe or that he aided and abetted the killer in the murder of Mr. Howe, you must then determine whether the murder was of the first or of the second degree. If you look at your instructions, you will see that any willful, deliberate, and premeditated murder is a murder of the first degree. Also, and now we get into the felony murder rule, which apparently gave you some problem. Any murder committed during the perpetration or attempt to perpetrate the crime of robbery or the crime of burglary, both of which are felonies, is a murder of the first degree, whether the killing was intentional, unintentional, or accidental. That is what is known as the felony murder rule. It is a murder committed during the commission or attempt to commit certain felonies. Two of those felonies have been alleged in this case. One is the alleged or attempt to commit or the commission of a robbery, and the other is an attempt to commit or the commission of a burglary, and malice under those circumstances is not required. That is all the felony murder rule is. All right. So I've got some Q&A here. And I thought that what we could do is I'll read it one time at 180, then again at 200, and again at 225, okay? All right. And this is just, we're going to start off just with plaintiff. Plaintiff will be questioning. Here we go. Uh-oh, hold on. Let me wind my watch here. Okay. How would that be done? Well, you can run a DMV printout on the license number if you happen to have it. If you're in law enforcement, you can run an APB for the vehicles that match that description if you don't have a driver's plate number, depending on what somebody does with the vehicle, whether they continue to drive it or whether it's stripped or whether it's just parked or abandoned or set on fire. Or there's a number of things that can be done with the vehicle if it's a crime scene and it's missing. If you had a make of a vehicle and you had a moniker or something like that Would that assist you in locating the vehicle or locating where the vehicle might have been? Is that feasible? If you have a make, yes, let's say you had a make of a 1934 Packard. This is merely a hypothetical question, and you're looking for a 1934 Packard, and you have some names that are associated with that vehicle. Would that assist you in trying to locate it? If you can answer that, yes, it could. If you got a general area from which the vehicle may have come, would you expect after you got that information to go out to that general area then and make inquiries about that vehicle? If it's an area, for instance, where your primary responsibility is law enforcement and you have gang details, things like that, you can go to find out whether the names or vehicles that you've been given are familiar to. As an example, the narcotics area where they run a lot of people, if you have those names, then you can ask whether they are familiar with the particular vehicle. If it's out of the county, you can do the same with the other various departments by sending a notice that you're looking for this, and these are the vehicles that may be involved. Perhaps they may have information about the vehicle. Based upon your training and experience over the years, going back to when you were with the police department, did you ever work with other agencies connected with law enforcement? Yes, I did. If you wanted to get information, for instance, from the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department, did you find that that office wouldn't give you the information? Was that ever your experience? No, the local agencies, as a general rule, are very easy to work with. So there's a spirit of cooperation among the agencies. At the local level, yes. At the federal level, no. All right, so let's do that again at 200. How would that be done? Well, you can run a DMV printout on the license number if you happen to have it. If you're in law enforcement, you can run an APB for the vehicles that match that description if you don't have a driver's plate number, depending on what somebody does with the vehicle, whether they continue to drive it or whether it's stripped or whether it's just parked or abandoned or set on fire, or there's a number of things that can be done with the vehicle if it's a crime scene and it's missing. If you had a make of a vehicle and you had a moniker or something like that, would that assist you in locating the vehicle or locating where the vehicle might have been? Is that feasible? If you have a make, yes. Let's say that you had a make of a 1934 Packard. This is merely a hypothetical question, and you're looking for a 1934 Packard and you have some names that are associated with that vehicle. Would that assist you in trying to locate it if you can answer that? Yes, it could. If you got a general area from which the vehicle may have come, would you expect after you got that information to go out to that general area then and make inquiries about that vehicle? If it's an area, for instance, where your primary responsibility is law enforcement and you have gang details, things like that, you can go to find out whether the names or vehicles that you've been given are familiar to, as an example, the narcotics area, where they run a lot of people. If you have those names, then you can ask whether they are familiar with the particular vehicle. If it's out of the county, you can do the same with the other various departments by sending a notice that you're looking for this, and these are the vehicles that may be involved. Perhaps they may have information about the vehicle. Based upon your training and experience over the years, going back to when you were with the police department, did you ever work with other agencies connected with law enforcement? Yes, I did. If you wanted to get information, for instance, from the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department, did you find that the office wouldn't give you the information? Was that ever your experience? No, the local agencies, as a general rule, are very easy to work with. So there's a spirit of cooperation among the agencies. At the local level, yes. At the federal level, no. All right, so we'll do it one last time at 225. How would that be done? Well, you can run a DMV printout on the license number if you happen to have it. If you're in law enforcement, you can run an APB for the vehicles that match that description if you don't have a driver's plate number, depending on what somebody does with the vehicle, whether they continue to drive it or whether it's stripped or whether it's just parked or abandoned or set on fire, or there's a number of things that can be done with the vehicle if it's a crime scene and it's missing. If you had a make of a vehicle and you had a moniker or something like that, would that assist you in locating the vehicle or locating where the vehicle might have been? Is that feasible? If you have a make, yes. Let's say that you had a make of a 1934 Packard. This is merely a hypothetical question, and you're looking for a 1934 Packard, and you have some names that are associated with that vehicle. Would that assist you in trying to locate it? If you can answer that, yes, it could. If you got a general area from which the vehicle may have come, would you expect after you got that information to go out to that general area then and make inquiries about that vehicle? If it's not, if it's an area, for instance, where your primary responsibility is law enforcement and you have gang details, things like that, you can go to find out whether the names or vehicles that you've been given are familiar to. As an example, the narcotics area, where they run a lot of people. If you have those names, then you can ask whether they are familiar with the particular vehicle. If it's out of the county, you can do the same with the other various departments by sending a notice that you're looking for this, and these are the vehicles that may be involved. Perhaps they may have information about the vehicle. Based upon your training and experience over the years, going back to when you were with the police department, did you ever work with other agencies connected with law enforcement? Yes, I did. If you wanted to get information, for instance, from the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department, did you find that that office wouldn't give you the information? Was that ever your experience? No, the local agencies, as a general rule, are very easy to work with. So there's a spirit of cooperation among the agencies. At the local level, yes. At the federal level, no. All right. Okay, so this is going to be defense questioning. And we're almost done with this transcript, actually. We might even finish it. Yeah, we're doing great on time. So what I'll do with this one is I'll start at 200 and work my way to 225, okay? Actually, you know what? I'll start at 180 and work my way to 225. All right, here we go. Can you identify any damage that you've described in either of the photographs? The scratches on the top of the bumper. Okay, we're going to have to do some, look what I found. Okay, I'm going to take those original photographs from you and now replace them in front of you with laser copies of the photographs. Now I'm going to take one of them and write a little 1 in the bottom corner, okay, and on the other one, a number 2. Okay, now what photograph are you looking at where you see the marks that you've told us about? Number 2. Which picture on the page number 2? The bottom one, the bottom middle. Okay, can I take a look at that? It appears to be several scratches in a vertical fashion. Yes, right above the license plate. Is that correct? Yes. Now I'm going to show you, strike that. The pictures you've just looked at, yes, and identified. Does that reasonably depict the condition of your vehicle immediately after the accident? Yes, it does. Now I'm going to show you another set. I'm going to put a little 3 in the bottom of one corner and a 4 in the other. I'd like you to look at those pictures. Do you know what's shown in there? Yes, the Dodge Neon. That's the one that was in the accident? Yes, it was. Can you see in those pictures or any one of the pictures the damage to the license plate that you've described to us? This one right here, the top. That's identified as number 4, number 4. And then you pointed to the top left-hand corner picture. Is that correct? Yes, that's the one. That's one of the license plate. Yes. Now what we see there is some blue or red markings at about the bottom of the numbers. Is that correct? Yes. That's the extent of the damage that you saw on the date of the accident. Yes, it was. Do these pictures reasonably depict the condition of both vehicles immediately following the accident? Yes, it does. I'd offer these to be attached as exhibits if you won't mind making additional laser copies of them. Sure, that's really the reporter that said that, but we don't have a button for reporter. So did you get the copies of these in response to production for demand? If you haven't, let's just put them in the copies. If she orders a copy, she gets one, okay? Will these be in black and white or in color? In color, just like that. Okay, great, because I don't have them. Okay, do you have any plans on moving in the near future? No. If you do move, would you keep both of us advised or? Yes. I have no further questions. Thank you. Mr. Pangan, yes, Were you traveling 40 to 45 miles an hour when you first noticed the stopped white Dodge Neon? When I saw the light. When you first saw the light some 100 feet away? Yes. And that's when you pressed on your brake? Yes, I did. Approximately how much time elapsed between that time traveling at 40 to 45 miles an hour and the impact itself? About a minute. So it's your testimony that it took you about a minute to travel 100 feet? Yes. When you talked to the police, were you truthful in your statement to them? Yes. You were not lying to the police officer? No. Do you believe that your recollection of events improves with time? Yes. So you believe that your recollection of this incident is better now, 2 years after the accident, than it was about half an hour after the accident? Yes. Why is that? Because of the state of nervousness. Sometimes you just don't know what to say or you can't explain it thoroughly. So you were nervous, disoriented, and shocked at the time? Yes. You described the impact as a tap. Any reason that you were nervous, disoriented, or in shock at the time? It's because I've never been in an accident before, you know. So what made you nervous, disoriented, and in shock at the time? Just the fact that it was my first car accident. Okay, today you testified that you recall being at less than 10 miles an hour at the moment of impact because you also recall looking at the speedometer. Yes, you have a clear recollection of looking at the speedometer as you're sitting here today. Yes, when you were talking to the police, did you recall looking at the speedometer at the moment of impact? No, I gave them an estimation. At what point in time after the accident did it occur to you that you looked at the speedometer at the moment of impact? A dream. Sounds like it. Do you have any knowledge as to whether the court dismissed the lawsuit or we, the plaintiff, dismissed the lawsuit? If I recall, I think it was the court. On page 5 of the police report under the paragraph entitled Summary, yes, here's a copy. Okay, I'm going to read from the middle of the paragraph due to the fact that V1, V meaning vehicle, who is you, and V2 sustained minor damage. I believe V1 was traveling southbound on Promenade in the number 1 lane, moving on to page 6 at a speed of approximately 10 miles an hour. Do you recall reading that when you reviewed the police report in February of 2007? Yes. Could it be that that is where you received the estimate of 10 miles an hour at the moment of impact from reading the police report and the officer's conclusions? Using the officer's conclusion, before impacting the Dodge Neon, did you anticipate an impact? No. Okay, was the impact a complete surprise to you, or yes, it was? Okay, when you were passing or pressing on your brakes and they did not respond, did you realize at that second, I think I'm not going to be able to stop and I'm going to hit the car ahead of me? I actually thought I had a little room to spare. So at no time prior to impact did you realize that, unfortunately, you were going to hit the car? Yes. How many seconds? What kind of time estimate would you be more comfortable with that you realized you will hit the car ahead of you? 5 seconds. During those 5 seconds, did you have an opportunity to brace yourself by maybe stiffening your body, holding on tightly to the steering wheel? Well, no. So what did you do in relation to the realization that you will hit the car ahead of you? I was going to turn, but I noticed if I was going to turn to the other lane, I'd put further damage on their car. But as a reflex, you did not stiffen your body in preparation for an impact. Is that what you're saying? Yes, that may have been asked, and I apologize if it had. How long did it take for the police to arrive at the other driver's residence after the accident? About 5 minutes of waiting. 5 minutes of waiting at the residence? Yes. So in total, how long was that after the impact actually occurred? After the collision. Probably took us 5 minutes to drive to school and then 5 minutes to our residence, and then another 4 or 5 for the police, so about 15. Okay, you testified that the young occupant of the other car, the daughter, yes, was carrying a book bag or a school bag? Yes, a backpack. Did you ever pick it up to know how light or heavy it was? No, I did not. Was the mother's feet on the couch when you saw her reclining on the couch? Yes, it was on the couch. You also testified that she was complaining of headaches, but then you said you couldn't actually understand her. So your statement is based on her hand movements or gestures? Yes. Did you or your parents take any pictures of your vehicle? No. Do you have any formal training in diagnosing non-visible injuries? No. Or informal training just by experience? By experience. What kind of training, informal training do you have? Experience like myself or say family members? how they would react to pain. Just life experience? Yeah, that's all I have, counsel. I have no questions. We can go. Let's leave it on the record. Mr. Pangan, the court reporter is going to make up an original book. Normally, that's all she does, and then you're asked to go to her office and sign it in her presence. Okay, but we would like to make it as convenient for you as possible, okay, to avoid you having to go anywhere else or to be further involved. We're willing, upon your promise, to let her mail the original transcript to you, put it in that envelope addressed to me with postage prepaid, and that you read it, that if you have any changes, mark them down on a separate piece of paper, sheet of paper, identifying the page and the line number, okay, of what changes you would like to be made, and then sign where she has indicated at the end of it and date it, and then put it in the envelope and send that back to me. Would that be all right with you? Yes. Would you be willing to do that as opposed to going to her office? Where would the office be? It's in Riverside on Magnolia. She can mail it to your house instead of having to go there. Yeah, okay. See, we can require you to go there, but we'd like to accommodate you as much as possible and let you sign it at home. Okay, if you agree, you'll mail it back to me. Okay, but I still wouldn't mind going there. I'll mail it back. Okay, so then upon mailing of the original transcript to the witness with the postage prepaid envelope addressed to my office, the court reporter will be relieved of her duties under the code. I will retain custody and control over the original transcript and have it available at all further proceedings. Will you be able to sign and return that and put it in the mail within 5 days from the time that you receive it? Yes. Okay, and then upon receipt of the original transcript, I will notify counsel for the claimants of any changes or corrections made within 10 days thereafter. So stipulated. All right, so how are we doing on time? Good. So I started at 180, worked my way to 225. Okay. All right, so we're gonna, I'll go back down to 200 with this one. This is back with the transcript. First American Title, there's a lawsuit against the title company, it sounds like, so it's a little bit more, I don't know, I think it's a little more difficult. All right, this is going to be defense as well. Here we go. I noted that the pages in the packet of materials are numbered in sequence in the upper right-hand corner. Is that correct? The majority of them, yes. All right, is that numbering placed there by the searcher to assist the officer in locating what is being referred to? Yes. I presume that once it's numbered by, strike that. Okay, let's go to line 2, G1. What does that mean? That's a miscellaneous map reference. The information we would be looking for is found on item 6 at page 4. Again, 4 means the page 4 of your packet. Yes. What does 3 say? 3 is a reference to an easement, abbreviated to be picked up at item 7 at page 4 of the packet. Okay, I understand the pages now. Let's just go down. 4 is an easement again? Yes. 5, what does that say? Rights. What does that mean? A lot of times when we set forth an item, we use one of the first words contained within the write-up in the report as the reference number or the referenced item. So this means the typing pool reference for the word rights is found. Pick up. Item 9, page 4. Right. The next 6. Does that say ease again? Yes. 7. What does that say? It's easement again? Yes. 8 is rights. 9 is easement, correct? Yes. In both instances? Yes. The last one, what is that? The word effect. What does that mean? Again, to start where the word effect begins and pick up everything afterwards at page 32. To the end of the page? To the end of the item, yes. Below that, DESC, double X. What does that mean? That represents the area that the legal description would be found in. Now, the writing that we have just been looking at, that is not your writing? Correct. It was done by the searcher, presumably Mr. Nickler. Is that correct? Yes. Now, the next entry is note. Is that G4? Yes. What is between the parentheses? The word none. Okay. Is this your writing? No, it's not. What does that signify to you? That's just another code that we have within our code book. And the person noting to code G4, parentheses, none, and pick up the following. Language shown? Right. Do you know what appears at G4, none? Not verbatim, but I have an idea. Can you tell from looking at your packet? Yes. Don't read it, but just tell me what it consists of. It's just a statement that the property hasn't been conveyed within 6 months. All right, thank you. I would like to continue down in that column. Is the word not stricken out? Yes. And the word okay circled? Yes. What does that mean? Okay for starter. Something that can be used at a later date as a starter for the property. Is any of the writing on this document in your handwriting? Only my signed signature. What is in the block where the word accept appears in the second column? Under accept, next to accept, COBS, SEE? Yes. And what does that mean? It's just another form to be put in our preliminary title report. The information is located on page 5 of the packet. Yes. All right, now title officer, and your name appears. That's your signature, correct? Yes. At what point in time do you normally sign a brief? After my review. Does your signature have any significance? Is it an approval, or does it just signify you have seen it? It's an approval to be typed. Then it says typed by, then someone's initials, possibly. Then appears to be a date, 12/17/2010. Yes. And a 2 with a circle around it. Is that correct? Yes. What does the 2 with the circle around it signify? I don't know. What does the date signify? The date the report was written up. The word compared Reynolds, 12/18. What does that signify to you? Our typing pool compares the typed report against the written brief for any discrepancies, and that's the person that compared it. And presumably the date that it was compared? Yes. Or repaired, compared? Yes. Do you know Reynolds? Yes. Is that a he or a she? A she. What is her first name? I'm not sure. Is she still employed at First American? I don't think so. Let's go up to the third column. I'm going to excuse myself, and Monday is off, right? Yes, that's correct. Thank you. And I don't need a copy. I'll be right back. Back on the record. Okay, standard policy, write 2 copies. What does that mean? There's a binder over it, isn't it, Terry? Yes, it has the word binder over it. Does binder connect to the standard policy reference? No. So let's just take the standard policy indentation first. What does that mean? If a request was made for a standard policy, that would be the column we would use for that. Okay, am I correct that the information that appears in bold block right below the word binder was written at some other time than the time of the information that we have been discussing? Yes. Okay, was that information placed there by you? Yes. So that is in your handwriting also? Yes. Did you write the word binder on it? Yes. With a circle around it signifying what? No, our typing pool had circled that. Do you have any recall of detailing with this brief a second time for the purpose of issuing a policy of title? Yes. What do you recall about your having dealt with it the second time? Just that a request was made. Does this then constitute your instruction to the typing pool to type a standard policy, preparing 2 copies? No. What does that mean? That a binder could be typed up. Okay, 2 copies, correct? Yes. All right, then you wrote binder. Is this correct to direct them to a binder as opposed to anything else? Yes. Had you intended them to type a policy, you had not a written binder? Yes. Then they'd have a typed policy because of the standard policy reference. Is that correct? Yes. Now below it says insure, and then the words new owner, benefit, and assignee. What is signified by the entries in that block? The person being named on the binder would be the new owner, or a beneficiary or an assignee. That would be the type of binder to be typed, whether we were issuing a binder or an owner, a beneficiary, or assignee. Okay, in this case, none of the 3 is circled or anything indicated to. What does that mean, if anything? Off the record for a minute, back on the record. The placing of numbers 22 next to the page means the pool is instructed to look on page 22 in order to find the owner there. Yes, that is correct. And the binder is to make reference to that person as the person who they are preparing to insure. Is that correct? Yes. Well, is it fair to say that the person is to be shown as an owner? Is that what insure new owner means? Yes, that is right. Is that page 22 in the packet? Yes. I believe, Terry, this is where you could reference back to the best A. So you look for A to A. Is that correct, Mr. Powers? Yes. A to A, or the circled A that appears on the side. Okay, page 22 appears to be a trust, a copy of the trustee's deed upon sale. Is that correct? Yes. It has the red writing with some blue with circles in the margin referencing Exhibit B. Is any of the handwriting on Exhibit B yours? No. This is page 22 of the packet. Is that correct? Yes. Is this what one might refer to as the operative document for determining where the title, the person or persons to be shown as owners was found? Is this the language that the typing people were supposed to type for owner? Yes. Do you have any idea who wrote the A2A material? Yes. Who? Mac Donner. It appears to be a restatement of what's found in the paragraph, which has an arrow going to the red writing. Is that correct? Yes, it does. Do you know who wrote the blue ink, arrows, and circle? No, I don't. Do you have any knowledge as to when those arrows were placed there? No, I don't. Mr. Powers, does the title searcher re-indicate this by going to a bunch of sources and putting this document together in effect? Yes. As long as we're being so thorough, he pulls the documents which are shown as he checks these areas shown on the brief under the account. Those are the location areas within the files maintained at First American. Some of these files date back several years. The title searcher has checked for documents to make up the search. Is that correct? Yes. Does First American keep their documents then in some kind of a file arrangement based on geographical locations? No, but we do use the word geographical index on the computer. Okay, what's a geographical index? That is the packet that documents pertaining to specific pieces of property are compiled and stored. Is this packet we have been referring to geographical index? No, it's not. Okay, what is the differentiation? Geographical index could be a folder similar to this that information would be kept in. Then the information out of the geographical index would be compiled into a preliminary title report. I see. What is included generally in a geographical index? All items affecting the pieces of property via a legal description. All right, I've asked for the production of a number of documents today. Your counsel has been kind enough to produce them. Are these the kinds of things that would be found then, meaning the documents produced, the kinds of things that would be found in a geographical index? Are you just pertaining to the easement documents, deeds of trust, leases, and things of that nature? None of the other transmittals or anything of that nature between yourself and First American Title? No, that type of information wouldn't be compiled there. But if a title search is done, does that title search packet end up in the index? The preliminary title report would be put into that, not the whole brief, no. Where or how is the brief packet ordered or stored? Within our office, we store it in the files in numerically based on the OR number. Okay, stop right there. And does a standard title search procedure involve the searcher looking or reviewing the items in an index? Yes. Does that also involve the searcher looking for any packets under the OR numbers? No, usually the searcher would use a preliminary title report and what has been typed on it as his basis for his search. He wouldn't pull the whole packet, no. That was called a starter? Yes. The report is a starter? Yes. All right, thank you. Now, assume that Mr. Donner had a prior report as a starter. Would he then research the words, I guess, all of the items in the preliminary report? Or would he presumably just take the same old report and just go forward from when it stopped? Yes, he would take the old report from when it stopped and come forward. In this case, do you know in the starting point, do you know whether there was an old report that was used to prepare the preliminary title report of December 9, 2010? Yes, there was. What was the date shown on that old report? Is your knowledge that there is an old report used based upon the packet you have in front of me, or do you have an independent recollection that that's true? I am sorry, can you restate that? Sure, you are about to turn to something in this packet, is that correct? Yes. Do you know that a starter was used because it appears in the packet, or is there any other basis for your knowledge that a start area was used? My knowledge would be the starter was included within the packet. Okay, so the fact that the starter was included means that it was used by you? Yes. You didn't order a starter, or you weren't involved with a starter. You didn't? Right. Okay, go ahead. The date today, date of the starter, was September 10th, 2014. September 9 or 10th of 2014. Okay, I'm looking at the packet on pages 2 through 8, and they appear to be consistent with the starter. Is that correct? Yes. The next page is a chain sheet. What does that mean? The searcher would use that to bring, the searcher would be using that to bring the title forward from the date of the preliminary title report. The chain sheet appears to reference 4 instruments. Is that correct? No, just 2 instruments, one at page 49 and one at page 58, being circled in blue. Okay, does that signify that those 2 instruments trace the chain of title? No, those would be just the 2 other instruments that would affect the chain of title after 2014. All right, I know that was challenging. I could tell by reading it. Let's see here. How'd you guys do?
It was tough.
Yeah. I know it is. It's always tough when they are asking about certain things like, what is this circle? What does this mean that's underlined? And this page and this line and
geographical getting me.
Yeah. 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 Yep. Come up with the brief. Yep. Well, so I have a question for you, Donna. Did you think that the test was read? Did it seem like it was read slower than 200?
It did seem slow to me, but I think that might have been because there just weren't that many syllables per word.
Mm-hmm.
That made it seem slower. Because at some points where it got more dense, it seemed the right speed. But otherwise, it did seem like I wasn't nervous. I was just like, wow, this is going well.
That's awesome.
It was not a hard test.
Oh, that's great. That's great. And what was the subject? Like, was it a car accident?
It was a bicycle. Thank goodness for that brief.
Yay, yeah.
Bicycle with a car.
Okay. Nice.
I kind of lost my voice. I'm sorry.
That's okay. No worries. I always like to hear, like, I need to read you guys my test. I have my test. I'll have to, if I can find it tonight, I'll read it tomorrow for you guys.
I actually have it because I was in session 3, and so they didn't make me do the last session. So they didn't make me delete it. So I still have it.
Oh, wow.
They told me I could keep it, so.
Okay, yeah. Maybe just hold on. Don't share it with anybody till you get your results, because you don't want anything to happen.
I know.
Imagine, oh, sorry, that's a disqualification.
The great thing was they did practice sessions the night before and the morning of. It was all deposition, and that was very helpful. And then the readers of the test were extremely clear, just concise. It was so not hard that it made me kind of worried. Like, and then there were a couple sections where I just thought I just must have been on the wrong key, or I had a couple little areas where I'm like, oh man, what was that? You know, because I just didn't. There were no words. It was just like a letter here. I'm like, what? So I know I had some errors, but I don't know if I had 50 errors.
Yeah.
So
I doubt it.
I don't know. I felt really good about tests before in school. I'm like,
yeah,
95. You know, it's so always such a close margin.
Yes.
But if I take it again, I won't be so scared.
Yeah, exactly. That happened to me. I didn't pass the first one. Well, it was more in the transcribing part of the test, because I flipped the 2 flaps, you know. But the second time I was just more, I don't know, I was more confident. And it's funny because that was a hard test. Well, I felt good about it, but the people that were first timers all said, oh, that's so hard. But I think because I was familiar with the surroundings and what to expect, it didn't throw me off, you know. But yeah, so if you know you have to take it again, then at least you don't have to wait 6 months, you know.
Yeah, I think. And it'll get me. I mean, I'm a terrible flyer, so the most stressful thing for me was flying there. So the test wasn't that bad. But I did take. I mean, a lot of people left the transcription room before I did. I just remember the teacher saying, "Take your time, read it again."
Oh gosh, yes.
So
I was the last one there too. I was like one of the very last. Like I didn't get up until, even when I was done, I went back through. I mean, yes. Yeah.
I spent about 15 minutes. I printed my final off, and I read it again. Didn't find anything. I just sat there like afraid to put it in the envelope. Like I don't want to let it go. But,
Yeah. Oh, that's so, huh?
if I didn't pass, it was my fault because the test wasn't, I thought it was very reasonable. So I
Yeah.
don't think I could say wrong about that.
Yeah. Yeah. And those people that get up right away and leave, you know, you can't panic because who knows, maybe that's somebody that just didn't get it and they're going, okay, there's no way I pass this. I'm packing up and I'm going, you know? You never know.
I don't think anybody felt that way. I didn't see anybody leaving until a good hour afterwards. So nobody walked out of the test. Nobody thought, I mean, that was a good sign. It was
good.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so exciting. Well, we'll keep our fingers crossed.
Yeah, we'll see. Even one under the belt, you know, it's good. So.
Yep. Well, see, Catherine, that'll be you soon before you know it.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
It'll happen soon. It will. And I love that Donna can share her experience with everyone else because, you know, mine was my test was in 1994. So it's just nice to hear updated, you know, what they do that's different. And so, and Donna,
yeah, go ahead.
Did you feel like they really tried hard to make everybody feel comfortable? Like they tried hard not to intimidate anybody?
Yeah, so they were so kind. Everybody was so kind and just calm and, you know, cracking little jokes just to settle us down. And I found the experience very well handled and just no complaints on my part at all. You know, it's up to us to pass that kind of a test because it was really well done. So if you're not ready, you know, if I wasn't ready, I wasn't ready. I have to do it again. That's on me, and I'm okay with that. You know, I can look forward to it. I just hope the next one is just as easy because I really feel like it wasn't that hard of a test.
Yeah.
The only word that, you know, I kind of stumbled on was attributed. It said attributed a number of times, and then in my notes, what I thought should have been attributed said attributes. And so I was like, oh, I hit the Z instead of the D, you know, but I went with my notes because that's what my notes said. So that could be one.
That's okay. Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, Angel, I have one more question.
Yeah.
Okay, so I sat up in like Saturday night, I was already home, like sat up in bed at like 3 o'clock in the morning, and I thought, did I blow it? Because it was a deposition. Should I have only put 25 lines on my page? Does it matter if I had 25 or 28 lines on my page?
God.
That's the only thing I could think of is, oh my gosh, I mean, is it a set rule that you have to have 25 lines on a depo?
I can find out. I mean, I don't want to say yes or no.
Yeah.
And then, you know what I mean? So you had 25?
They tell you in advance. Yeah, they tell you in advance it's a depo format, so should I have changed my lines to only 25? I'm not even gonna read my test now because it was 28 lines.
No, I'll find out. Okay, I'll get a hold of Tammy and ask her.
Seriously, one of those things I just like sat up right out of my sleep, like, wait a second.
Okay.
Lines.
Wait, so how many lines did you have?
I had 28 because at school they never made us change. You know, we didn't know what we were gonna get.
Right.
So they didn't make us change, but they told us on the letter this will be a deposition format, and they said follow the you know, minimum standards.
Yeah, I'll find out. But
is it up to your agency what your depo lines are?
What was that?
Isn't it up to your agency how many lines?
Yes, and every agency is different. You know,
Okay.
I mean, some of them have the same format, but other ones don't. Like every agency is a little different. Like, oh, we like it in this font. We like it in, you know, this size, or, you know, so I'll find out.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh no.
Yeah, no, I'll find out. Because I would think that when they say like deposition format, I think they just mean they're letting you know that there's going to be a DQ and the court will be coming in. So I wouldn't think that means. Yeah, don't stress. No, I'll find out. I'll ask.
All right.
And I'll get back to you. I'll find out.
Okay.
All right.
Awesome. Thanks.
Okay, you're well. Yeah, soon I'll text Valen or Tammy and see whoever gets back to me and let you know, so you don't have to sit there and stress.
Sounds good.
Okay, because they go to the test all the time with students, so they know.
Oh, you know what? That was sad too. It was like everybody there had somebody, and I was just so alone. I had nobody, and I was like, you know what? I got here myself. I'm gonna get through it myself.
Yes, that's right. Well, I'll go if you have to go again. I'll go to the Los Angeles test.
I don't buy you lunch.
Yes, I will. I will go.
All right, sounds good.
Oh, all right, you guys. Well, you have a great evening. Thank you guys for attending live. Oh, and I'll see you hopefully on Friday morning.
Sounds good.
Okay. All right.
See you then. Thanks.
Okay, bye. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.